Hi there, Jackie Ward here, founder and managing director of the Early Years Learning Hub. Just thought I'd create this little walkthrough video. It was a great idea from one of our customers, just to explain the benefits and the features of our service communication, reflection and planning journal. So if you've got any questions after this walkthrough, feel free to email and reach out to us. So why our journal? Because there's a lot out there, and you might say, well, all of them have different features and functions. The main thing that I would say about this journal is it promises to be a game changer in helping early childhood and school age care services to be organised, efficient and effective in all aspects of service operation, and particularly the things that you need to do in relation to meeting the requirements of the National Quality Framework. It includes sections for daily communication with families, monthly goal setting, leaders to plan and share focus areas, whole service planning, and the best feature of all is that there's no set dates. So if you don't use all of the weeks and whatnot, potentially this journal could last you it has 52 weeks in there, but it could last you 18 months or whenever. And also, it doesn't matter when you buy it, you can just buy it whenever, which is also super duper handy. And although it's called a service reflection and planning and communication journal, it could equally be used by individual teachers and educators as a document to record, things that are relevant to your own teaching practice. So first of all, I think, one of the things that I was thinking of, because I'm a practitioner, I work in a preschool a couple of days a week, and I was thinking about what would I like in a journal and I started thinking more and more as I was planning the document, well, it'd be great if we could put a section in for this and that. So everything was in the one place. And there was lots of practical components and ideas and inspiration littered throughout. So the first couple of pages are basically talking to all of the different sections of the journal and how you might use them. There's also provocations on all of the bottoms of the pages as well to support critical reflection, program ideas, all sorts of different things. So I'm going to break these sections down in great detail. So I'll talk you through each one as you go. But it's always a great idea to have something like this, particularly if you are using it as a whole service, because everyone's on the same page about what they're supposed to write in each one of the sections, or where they could write something that they'd like to in relation to something that might have just happened in the service. So first of all, any good journal or diary needs to have a spot to write things down, communication. So, a page, there's a space for each day. So if you message from parents or if you've got something on that week, you can write it in there. Special dates to remember. Maybe it's one of your colleagues' birthday, or maybe it's fire drills due this week. Whatever it is, there's a section to write that. And there's also a section to jot down, because you know what it's like when you're like trying to remember, I just used the last of the paper towel, or the paper towel's running low, I must tell someone. You can pop that in there as well. And whoever in your organisation is responsible for ordering that knows to check those supply check thing at the bottom of the page. Then at the end of 4 weeks of the weekly entries, then there's a section that has monthly reflection, analysis and goal setting. So thinking about setting some goals as a team about your relationships with children and families, your interactions, team well-being, anything at all, basically. I've put some sections in there, but if you don't like those ones, you can cross it out and put a different one. There's a section in there for you to emerge some things for you to document, children's emerging interests and ideas. So that could funnel into your program. I don't believe a journal should be a program. I think that's a separate written program that needs to be displayed for families in line with the legislation. And this one also supports you to be thinking about what incidents occurred and what do we need to be thinking about in terms of why did that happen? So supporting that really unpacking and critical reflection of, is there some common issues or themes turning up of some of the incidents that have occurred or accidents or whatever over the last 4 weeks and what could we do about it. There's also a spot in there to really evaluate and critically reflect on the program as a whole and what's been happening, because sometimes I know, in our service, we struggle to pop some things. Where do we put this reflection about this particular thing? So it's kind of a one-stop shop. Then there is also critical reflection provocations littered throughout. So you could be doing your critical reflection on your program. You could be doing critical reflection on service operation and leadership and those sorts of things. And you could also, at a team meeting, use this provocation as an idea of engaging with some research, professional standards, those sorts of things, with this question or provocation as your sort of stimulus. And there's lots of these littered throughout. The next thing is that there's also some prompts and inspiration for things like what you could be doing in terms of healthy lifestyle focus, which is a part of the National Quality Framework and also the Approved Learning Frameworks. Celebrating diversity and inclusion focus, you could, there's some ideas and inspiration there of what you could be doing to incorporate that into your program as well. And there's also a spot for whole service planning. So if you're using this as an individual, might be the things that you're contributing to those things. Celebrations, special events. It might be NAIDOC week. It might be, Mother's Day, Father's Day, end of year celebrations, whatever you want to plan in there, there's a spot for you to do that. So you're not caught on the go of, what are we going to do? And who decided what we were going to do and when we were going to do it and what do we need to do in advance so everything's not too stressful. There's also even a spot to record fire drills, evaluations and communications to families. So when you do one, you've got a record here. Again, just a nice centralised repository of all the things that you need to keep. Then there's a section for leadership, planning and transparency. So again, if you're using this individually, you could write the things in here that your educational leader is working on with you, or in terms of continuous improvement, you could write down some things of the tasks that you have to do as an individual in relation to those. But there's a section called Educational Leaders, and it's talking about what's the mentoring focus, what's the practice focus, and what's the research focus. So again, you don't have to do it that way, but that's just a suggestion. You could put some things in there so everybody knows what you're working on with the team, and they can look at the section and think about how they're doing those things. You could put some questions, asking people some readings to ask them to read and critically reflect on how that relates to what they do every day. And the nominated supervisor section is very much around quality improvement planning and continuous improvement. Then we have a section on collaborative teamwork, and I think I'm most impressed and excited about this section because I think it's often an underutilized or focused on area of our work, and it's so important to create a great team, and that's how we contribute towards developing a positive organizational culture. So there's a page in there, and you'd obviously have to get people's permission to pop details in there. But it has occurred to me on many occasions, if there was an accident or incident with an educator, we don't necessarily have very quick and easy access like we do for emergency contacts for children. So that's something that people might want to put in there. But also too, if you've got a large service, knowing when and where everyone works and all that kind of stuff. Team building ideas, so everyone could contribute to this idea. What makes a great team? What could we do to contribute to doing that, whether or not they be out of hours events or things that you could do within the work day and week. And then there's also a very handy spot to write down your team meetings. So pop an agenda in there and pop some minutes down as well. So again, everything in the one spot. Last but not least, the practicalities. So there's a spot in the back to write notes for whatever reason. If there's not enough space in any of the other sections, you can pop it in here. If you want to record all those critical reflection provocation responses, you can do that in there. And there's also a handy spot to collect all your bibs and bobs, whether it be work samples from children or photos or permission slips, that kind of thing. So please do go to our website today and get your copy. It is amazing value. And again, I think that you will be very happy with your purchase.